welcome back. We have now a lovely finance question, and we have a caller, which is really good. It's always nice to have a caller on the line. And I would like to just say that lots of people have been coming through to Facebook on questions on finance. So after I've dealt with the caller's question, I will then also sort of refer to some of the issues that have been raised on Facebook and would like some clarification to sort of clear up the loose little bits and pieces. I personally find that finance really, I think teachers believe, has become quite an easy section for people, but in actual fact it can be quite difficult. So let's have a look. Is our caller with us? Not yet. Okay, while she's coming on the line, let's talk about it. Oh, hello, you there. Okay, good. What is your name, love?
It's Sarah.
Sarah. Good, Sarah. This is an interesting question. I believe it came from the 2009 paper. And
yeah,
was it the government or the IAB one?
It was the government one.
Government one. Okay, so everybody who wants those books can access the question and have a look at it themselves. Okay, now what did you find hard about it, Sarah?
I got 8.1, but when it came to 8.2, I just didn't really understand what to do properly.
All right, so let's see. Probably I'm going to have to work through the whole thing in order to get answers, because they're probably going to ask bits and pieces connected to the very first question. Or otherwise, what you can do is tell me your answer for 8.1 we work on. Let's look at the question. Jill takes out a loan of 300,000 with a bank. Monthly payments of 5,000 Rand and a last payment of less than 5,000 Rand. Now, that is really very real, okay? Because in actual fact, when you are repaying something, interest rates change and all sorts of things happen. And you can have like something go wrong or whatever the case may be, and interest goes up or down, and suddenly you know at the end of the payments you have to pay an odd amount. So it's very real, this. Okay, repayments start 1 month after the loan is granted. Now, you might think that's a strange thing, but in actual fact it's not. Just think to yourself, if you went to buy something and you put money on it immediately, would you start paying immediately, or would you now say that was your deposit and you now start your installments later on? And in actual fact, I'm sure you agree with me, Sarah, that makes sense, that you would only start paying after the 1 month, because whatever cash you put in up front would be your deposit as such. And usually with loans, certainly if you're buying a home or something like that, people would expect a certain percentage of whatever the house or whatever's worth as a deposit up front. And you would start paying it off after 1 month. Now I'm going to show it to you with a number line just to put it into a little bit of perspective. Let's just get hold of a number line. So we've got a nice white number line over here. So now what they're doing is they're saying over here we have T0. And we only start paying after 1 month. So that would be your T1. So basically this amount, this loan that you took out at the beginning was 300,000. But you're making your first 5,000 Rand payment over here. Okay, so let's have a look at what's happening. Determine the number of payments to settle. Now, obviously, we know that the last payment is not going to be exactly 5,000 Rand. They've told us that. So we know we're going to get a little weird answer in a way, which we're going to have to round off. So let's see how we did that. So you did this, so you want to talk me through this, Sarah. What formula did you use when you were doing this payment?
I used the present value formula, and then I just calculated in.
Okay, because it was a loan, you used present value, so let's get that up for us. Present value is X, open the brackets, 1 minus 1 plus I to the minus N. Just check me on the formula, because I always learn them off by heart, and sometimes I do forget it, but I think that is the correct formula. Okay, so then you did that, and you said the present value of the loan is 300,000. What I do also find useful is to keep on the side what we actually know. So it makes it a bit easy. So we know the present value is 300,000. We know that the amount we are going to pay is 5,000, and we know one is going to be dicey. We know the interest rate is 18% per annum compounded monthly. Now that is very important, because your interest rate must match your payment. So your interest rate, if you are paying monthly, must be monthly interest rate. And if they were feeling particularly mean, they might have given you a yearly interest rate and said, but you're paying monthly. And that will answer one of the questions that's come up on Facebook just now, where then we would have to use our effective and nominal formula to actually work out what we're working with. But I'll have a look at that in a moment. This one's not doing that to us. We don't have to worry. So our interest rate is 18% but it's divided by 12, isn't it? Sarah, you still with us?
Yes.
Oh, good. Sorry, I thought I'd lost you there for a moment. Okay, and so what's missing in this formula is the n, because that is what they wanted me to find, the number of payments. Okay, so we are going to look for that. And of course, the number of payments here would actually be 12 times n. Because every year, if n stands for years, would require 12 payments per year because it's a monthly payment. Okay, so let's go and do this, and I just hope I can actually get enough space to work nicely. So we know it's 300,000. Yeah. What I find with these questions is the questions are up here, and then down here we're going to work, so we're going to keep on like flipping up and down, but it's fine, it's good for you. You can always see maths whiz past you, which is always fun. So x is 5,000, and we have 1 minus 1 plus I, and I we know is 0.18. Some people like to write it as 18%, which is absolutely fine. How did you do it, Sarah? Did you do it with the 18%?
I just did it 0.18 over 12.
Yes, I'm a great believer in that, but you are quite, in order, it's quite in order to go 18% over 12. That's fine, same thing. Okay, because 18% means 18 out of 100, which is 0.18. So it's absolutely fine, but I'm like you. I like to rather work with that. And underneath here, we have 0.18 over 12. So I'm not going to work it up because you've already done this, and this is not where you're having your problem. So let us now just give you, you'll give me the answer that you got.
Okay, I got that she paid 155 payments, but because she doesn't pay the last payment fully 1,000, she's only going to pay 154.
Okay, because that's not full payment. Okay, so she does 154 calculations of 5,000 and then the extra. Shall we just do it? Let's just do it, just to be safe. I'm going to do it on a calculator on the side. That's why I thought there was no real point. But you know what? Let's just do it. So it's interesting to see how we're going to do it. And also, it raises the question of logs, which is never a bad thing to mention. So let's have a look over here. We would take, does help if one goes back to the pen, 300,000. And what I would do is I would times by 0.18 over 12. And to lose this, I would divide by the 5,000. And I'd say that's equal to this thing here. You can, of course, work this out, but we've got calculators, so we don't need to do that. Okay, so now I would work this out, and I would keep it accurate in my calculator. So it's 300,000 times 0.18 divided by 12, divide by 5,000, and it actually comes out to quite a reasonable answer. It's 9/10 or 0.9 if you want to. And this is 1 minus, and since this was a relatively nice answer, let's work out this one as well. 1 plus 0.18 divided by 12 equals, and that isn't such a nice answer, but it's fine, 203 over 200, or if you get a decimal answer, depends what you've set your calculator to, that's what you would get. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transcribe this side because it makes more sense to have no negative in front. And it's 1 minus 9/10, which means we have 203 over 200 to the negative n equals 1/10. Now to solve this, we would use our logs. Now, it depends what calculator you're working with, but most of the calculators have the ability for you to work with it as it stands. But I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to work with it by where I log this side. And I log this side. Because remember, with an equation, as long as I do to one side what I do to the other side, there's no difference. So it's minus n because log law, so I can bring that in front. Log of 203 over 200 equals log 1/10. And then we have minus n equals log 1/10 over log 203 over 200. Right, so now it's just a matter of sticking that in the calculator. So it's log of 1 divided by 10. You can use decimals, of course, as well. Divided by log 203 divided by 200. Okay, and I'm going to get minus 154, 6541086 is minus n, which means n is actually 154, 6541086. How many decimal places were they asking for, Sarah?
They actually asked to calculate it to the nearest whole number.
Nearest whole number. Okay, so what's happened now? Let's go back to the question. The question says determine the number of payments to settle. Now, do they mean the number of 5,000 Rand payments, or do they mean the number of payments even though the last one was less than 5,000? Now, we can see that clearly if we go back here, because that's 0.65. So that's not making the 155th month, but I would have answered this as 155 months. Or I would have written 154 payments
with one not
of 5,000 Rand and one more payment and less than. Let's just go less than, because they haven't asked you yet. I think they probably are going to ask you next, than 5,000 Rand. Okay, so are you happy with that, Sarah? We are on the right track. Let's go to the question 2. Now, you said this is where it went not so nicely for you. It says, calculate the balance after the last 5,000 was paid. Now, there are many ways to go about this. The one way to go about it is to work out the 5,000 with all the interests over the time it's been going, and then subtract a future value as such. Or there's a formula where you work off the present value as well and you work back. But I think I'm going to stick to the first one because I think it actually makes it a little bit easier. So even though this can extend, I am going to take this off because I think it just makes it easier if you don't go too far from the question. You want to be able to go back to the question and refer to it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to whip those off. So wonderful, you don't have to work too hard to get rid of your work. You just whiz it around and tap it. It's fabulous, like magic. Right, let's go back here. So what I would do is I would say balance outstanding is the investment, which was basically you were paying 5,000 Rand for at 18% interest monthly for 155 months. Subtract what actually happened. Now, I'm just trying to think if that's a good idea. In fact, I am wrong here. This is 300,000. Okay, because it was 300,000 was the loan, and we had the interest rate for 155 months. And from that, we're going to subtract the installments as a future value equation. So it's 5,000, 1 plus I, which is 0.18 over 12. And of course, we're only doing 154 of these payments over 0.18 over 12. Now, if I stick that in the calculator, I will get my answer out. And again, it just depends how you like to do it. Not a bad idea to show parts of the answer, but be careful of that, because if you round off too soon, you lose accuracy and then you have a problem. So let's just do it like this, and I'm going to do it in one shot. So it's 300,000. Open the brackets, 1 plus 0.18, divide by 12, close the brackets. Raised to the power 155. Okay, and then I'm just wondering if that should be 154. No, I think it's 155. Right, so it's minus. And
yeah, I think it's 154 maybe.
I thought that at first, but let's see what happens here. I have a feeling it is that.
Okay.
Hopefully my feeling is right. Usually it is, but you know why? Because it is actually 155 payments, but they're not all equal payments. So let me
Shouldn't it only be on the 5,000 payments?
You see, what you're doing here is you're working out the interest for 155 months.
Aye.
I'm sure I'm right. I'm sure I'm right. Okay, let's see what happens if we don't like our answer. We go back to the drawing board. I'm always a great believer when you're not sure to just say, okay, let's panic. Let's first see, and I'm sure I'm right, but let's just make sure. I'm just checking the calculator I've entered correctly. Yes, I have. And then I want to divide by 0.18 over 12. Close the brackets, equals, and let's hope the calculator doesn't freak out. It gives me 4.7. I think I might have just put in the wrong thing. Let me just check 18. Go back to the actual question. 300,000, 1 plus 1.8. I wish I had the calculator in front of you because it's so much easier to show you as we go. But it's fine. It's just a technical hitch. We can do nothing about that. Subtract the payments. I just want to check I put it to the right power. 154 minus 1. Yep, that all looks good. Let me just check I put enough brackets in. Because the answer I got looked a little bit strange. Yeah, I did put enough brackets in. Divide by that over 12. Yep, it did. Okay, the answer comes out to this, which is very unlikely. So something has gone wrong. My gosh, let's just have a look. 300,000, 1 plus the interest rate. And even if it was to 4, okay, I might have to finish this one off afterwards with you. I think I've just done something silly here with the calculator because we only have 1 minute left, but I'm going to try one more thing just to see if it makes a difference and makes it more feasible. Let's just try what you suggested and see if that makes the answer better. Yes, so it was. Okay, so I do apologize, that was 154. So as soon as I do that, now the answer is bearable. So you're quite right. So you wanted to work out that. And so that's the balance outstanding. And of course, that does make sense when I think about it. Because if you are going to pay 154 installments of 5,000 on that, you need to work out the interest for that amount of time to see what's left over after the 154 months. And so, yes, that's what you need to pay. Was that the answer they got, Sarah?
Yes.
All right, so that was what was where I went wrong. Okay, so you are quite right. It does make sense. Now, I basically run out of time. So what I'm going to do, Sarah, is I'm going to wrap up now, and then I'm going to go across to the room, and I will finish the question with you. If you need any more help with this, do you want to carry on with this, calculate the total paid to the bank, or are you right on that?
I feel all right, actually.
All right. Basically, that's easy enough because all you would do is you'd take 5,000, times it by 154, and then you'd add on that 3,000, whatever the answer was we got as an extra bit, and that's how much would be paid to the bank. All right, great. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'd like to wish you all good luck for tomorrow. And just remember, whatever you do, that always mark through. Don't leave out questions, rather try them. No matter what you do wrong, you can always pick up a mark or two, and just to stay very, very calm. And to leave a question, come back to it if you're not feeling comfortable. Right, thank you very much for joining us. Learn well tonight, and hopefully tomorrow is a really good examination for you. All the best. Bye-bye.